Hey, Tibbs here with Tibbs Gaming, about to open another box of Ravnica Allegiance. So let's go ahead and get that started. First pack. Uncommons, we have Orzhov Racketeers, Gates Ablaze, Dovin's Acuity, and we've got a Bedevil at rare. 2 black, 1 red for an instant, destroy target artifact, creature, or planeswalker. Next pack. Got a Sharktocrab at uncommon. A Collision Colossus, a Fireblade Artist, and a Nikya of the Old Ways at rare. 3 generic, a red and a green for a 5/5 legendary Centaur Druid. You can't cast non-creature spells, and whenever you tap a land for mana, add 1 mana of any type that land produced. Fun card, probably not amazing, but it's a nice card. Got a foil Hazda Officer. Next pack. Alright, we got Minister of Obligation at uncommon. Or Ministrant, I guess, not Minister. Regenesis and Orzhov Enforcer. And Smothering Tide at rare. 3 generic and 1 white for an enchantment. Whenever an opponent draws a card, that player may pay 2 generic. If the player doesn't, you create a colorless treasure artifact token with tap, sacrifice this artifact, add 1 mana of any color. That's a fun card. I'm interested to see how it plays out. Kind of reminds me of Ristic Study, which is a commander staple that drives lots of people nuts, but definitely a card I'm going to keep my eye on. Next pack at uncommon, we have Archway Angel, Silhana Wayfinder, and Essence Capture. And a Tome of the Guild Pact at rare, 5 generic for an artifact. Whenever you cast a multicolored spell, draw a card, and tap to add 1 mana of any color. Probably fun card for like 5 color EDH. I don't see it as having much other use. Got a High Alert at uncommon for defender decks, which are turning into a thing, it sounds like. Dovin's Acuity, Scrabbling Claws, a Verity Circle at rare, 2 generic and a blue for an enchantment. Whenever a creature an opponent controls becomes tapped, if it isn't being declared as an attacker, you may draw a card. And you can pay 4 generic and a blue to tap target creature without flying. Definitely a great card for limited. Maybe there's a sideboard use for it out there somewhere, but I can't think of any decks out there right now that are tapping a lot of creatures for anything other than attacking. So I could be wrong. We've got a uncommon. We've got Skatewing Spy, Swirling Torrent, and Macabre Mockery. For our rare, we have our first mythic, Seraph of the Scales. 2 generic, a white and a black for a 4/3 angel. It's got flying, and then for 1 white you can give it vigilance. For 1 black you can give it death touch until end of turn. It has afterlife 2. This card was pretty great for me in limited pre-release weekend. Not sure if it has a home out there, but we'll see what it does. Right, we've got an uncommon Gyre Engineer, One generic, a green and a blue for a 1/1 Vidalcan Wizard that taps for a green and a blue. Nice ramp card. Tower Defense, Sky Tether, and another mythic, Hydroid Crisis. X green blue for a 0/0 Jellyfish Hydra Beast. When you cast this spell, you gain half X life and draw half X cards round down each time. It has Flying and Trample, and it enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. Did a 2-headed giant pre-release, and we opened 2 of these. It's pretty crazy, but we never really drew them in any of our games that mattered. We played a couple games for fun, and they got nuts in those games, but definitely an amazing card. Cast trigger is always great, and should be a fun one to watch and see what it does. Gruul Beastmaster, Senate Guildmage, Bloodmist Infiltrator, and Font of Agonies at rare. It's 1 black for an enchantment. Whenever you pay life, put that many blood counters on Font of Agonies. Pay 1 generic and black, remove 4 blood counters from Font of Agonies, destroy a target creature. It's actually the first I'm seeing of this card. Not sure, the 2 mana and 4 counters seems kind of expensive to me as far as repeatability, but might be playable somewhere. Alright, we've got a Windstorm Drake, a Frilled Mystic, and Azorius Skyguard at uncommon, and then a Glass of the Guild Pact at rare. 2 generic for an artifact that gives all your multicolored creatures +1/+1. And we have a foil Azorius Knight Arbiter. Senate Guildmage, Bloodmist Infiltrator, Knight of the Last Breath. A rare Rixmati Reveler. 1 generic and a red for a 2/2 Human Shaman. Has Spectacle, 2 generic black-red. When it enters the battlefield, discard a card, then draw a card. If its Spectacle cost was paid, instead discard your hand and draw 3 cards. I mean, there's probably a deck out there for it with a wheel effect. Or not really a wheel, but... Alright, so we've got Archway Angel, Daggercaster, and Crypt of the Carnarium at uncommon. Priest of the Forgotten Gods at rare. 1 generic, 1 black for a 1/2 Human Cleric. It has tap, sacrifice 2 other creatures. Any number of target players each lose 2 life and sacrifice a creature. You add 2 black and draw a card. I saw a limited deck that did crazy things with this, so I'm assuming there's a deck to be built out there. I mean, 2 extra mana. If you can come up with tokens or something to sacrifice, it definitely seems like a good card. Pitiless Pontiff, Gatebreaker Ram, and Smeltward Ignis at uncommon. And a Plaza of Harmony at rare. This is another card I am not familiar with. When Plaza of Harmony enters the battlefield, if you control 2 or more gates, you gain 3 life. Tap to add a generic mana, or a colorless mana, and then tap, add 1 mana of any type that a gate you control could produce. Would be a okay limited card. I'd probably be sad if I pulled it and placed it something better. Not sure if there's a gate deck for standard or not. There's a lot of gates matter, but I'm just not sure it's a deck. At uncommon, we have Rally to Battle, Sphinx of New Prov, and Knight of the Last Breath. Our rare is Zagana, Utopian Speaker. 2 generic, green-blue, for 4/4. Enters the battlefield. If you control another creature with a +1/+1 counter, draw a card. Adapt 4 for 4 generic, a green and a blue. Each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it has trample. Feels like a solid limited card for a Simic deck, but I'm not sure it has constructed applications. We'll see. Gate Colossus, Wall of Lost Thoughts, and Spirit of the Spires at uncommon. Our rare is Rampage of the Clans. Pulled this rare several times during the pre-release and felt real bad about it each time. 3 generic, 1 green for an instant. Destroy all artifacts and enchantments. For each permanent destroyed this way, its controller creates a 3/3 green centaur creature token. If you had some way to like power out a bunch of treasures fast and drop this, maybe there's something with it. I'm not sure there's a deck that it's worth it as hate against. Rally to Battle, Sunder Shaman, and Flames of the Raised Boar as our uncommons. Our rare is Theater of Horrors. 1 generic, a black and a red for an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. During your turn, if an opponent lost life this turn, you may play cards exiled with Theater of Horrors. Pay 3 and a red. Theater of Horrors deals 1 damage to target opponent or planeswalker. It's got a way to enable Spectacle, but it's a little expensive. It's almost a free card draw in most Rakdos decks. Usually you have some way to get at least that 1 damage through. So Light Up the Stage, Spire Mangler, and Clan Guildmage at uncommon. And a Precognitive Perception as our rare. That's 3 generic, 2 blue for an instant. Draw 3 cards. If you cast it during your main phase, instead scry 3, then draw 3. It was a really good draw card in limited at pre-release weekend. Still feels a little expensive. Not sure about it overall. Clear the Stage, Rakdos, Firewheeler, and Rumbling Ruin as our uncommons. And Cindervines at rare. A red and a green for an enchantment. Whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, Cindervines deals 1 damage to that player. Pay 1, sack it, destroy target artifact or enchantment, and it deals 2 damage to that permanent's controller. It's an alright card in limited, and I'm not sure has a real constructed application or not. I got an Enraged Ceratok, Ministrant of Obligation, and Flames of the Raised Boar as our uncommons. Our rare is Growth Chamber Guardian, 1 generic and a green for a 2/2 Elf Crab Warrior. Has Adapt 2 for 2 and a green. Whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters are put on growth on it, you may search your library for a card with the same name, reveal it, and into your hand. So basically it finds copies of itself. Might be able to use that somewhere if you can ramp and adapt and find more copies. Some sort of newer elf deck. Oh, and a foil rare, Gutter Bones. 1 black for a 2/1, enters the battlefield tapped. Pay 2 and return it from your graveyard to your hand. Only during your turn and only if an opponent lost life this turn. But foil rare, always nice to hit. Screaming Shield, Gates Ablaze, and Essence Capture at uncommon. A rare is Revival Revenge. Revival is 2 white or black hybrid. For sorcery, return target creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from graveyard to the battlefield. Revenge is 4, a white and a black. For a sorcery, double your life total. Target opponent loses half their life rounded up. A little expensive, not sure where it fits. Alright, we got a Zerta Goblin, Angelic Exaltation, and Carnival Carnage as our uncommons. And Guardian Project at rare. 3 and a green for an enchantment. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, if it doesn't have the same name as another creature you control or a creature card in your graveyard, draw a card. Feels like solid card draw in green for Commander, and I'm not sure about anywhere else. Basilica Bellhaunt, Bankrupt in Blood, and Wilderness Reclamation as our uncommons, and Amplifier at rare. 2 and 2 red for a 1/1 elemental. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Until your next turn, Amplifier's base power becomes twice that card's power, and its base toughness becomes twice that card's toughness. Put the revealed cards on the bottom of your library in a random order. So, it's a fun random card. A lot of people don't like random, and I'm not sure it's powerful, but it's fun. Eyes Everywhere, Terramander, and Blood Mist Infiltrator at uncommon, and a Lavinia at rare. 1 white and blue for 2/2. Human Soldier, legendary. Each opponent can't cast non-creature spells with converted mana cost greater than the number of lands that player controls. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, counter that spell. I feel like it's got some sideboard potential. We'll see where it lands. Consecrate Consume, Trollbred Guardian, and another Terramander at uncommon. Tome of the Guild Pact is our rare. Already had one of those. And an Undercity's Embrace foil. Got Shark to Crab, Azorius Skyguard, and Regenesis at uncommon, and Hero of Precinct 1 at rare. 1 and 1 white for a 2/2 human warrior. Whenever you cast a multicolored spell, create a 1/1 white human creature token. Not sure how good it is for modern humans. I mean, they have some multicolored, but I'm just not sure it's a good fit. Not really sure where else it goes. Mortify, Rumbling Ruin, and Terramander at uncommon. Endrace Forerunners at rare. 5 and 3 green for a 7/7 boar with Vigilance, Trample, and Haste. When it enters the battlefield, other creatures you control get +2/+2 and gain Vigilance and Trample until end of turn. Basically, it's a smaller overrun, plus it gives Vigilance. So, in a ramp deck, I feel like this looks like a real good high-end card. But just don't know if there's a lot of ramp out there. Mortify, Windstorm Drake, and Tin Street Dodgers are uncommons. And Absorb at rare. 1 white, 2 blue for an instant. Counter target spell, you gain 3 life. It's probably a solid card for Azorius and Jeskai control decks, but nothing special. Bullrat Clan Crusher, Light Up the Stage, and Combine Guildmage at uncommon. Rare is Thrashed Threat. Thrash is an instant for a 2 red-green hybrid mana instant. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker you don't control. So like a one-sided fight, which is always fun. Threat, 2 generic, a red and a green. Create a 4/4 red and green beast creature token with trample. So, another card I wouldn't mind having unlimited. Not sure where else. Syndicate Guildmage foil. Orzhov Racketeers, Biogenic Upgrade, and Sky Tether at uncommon. And Deputy of Detention is our rare. 1 a white and a blue for a 1/3 Vidalcan Wizard. When it enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent opponent controls and all other non-land permanents that player controls with the same name as that permanent until Deputy Detention leaves the battlefield. So basically Detention Sphere on a body. So solid card. And another foil rare, Glass of the Guild Pact. 2 foil rares. Not a bad box there. Rhythm of the Wild, Enraged Ceratok, and Drillbit at uncommon. Rare is Mirror March. 5 and a red for an enchantment. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, flip a coin until you lose a flip. For each flip you won, create a token that's a copy of that creature. Those tokens gain haste. Exile them at the beginning of your next end step. It's a rare red enchantment. We all know what those are. They're too expensive to do anything with, but they're fun. Maybe throw in a commander deck somewhere, sometime. Galloping Lizrog, Junk Controller, and Incubation Incongruity as uncommons. A rare is a Lumbering Battlement. 4 generic and white for a 4/5 Vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, exile any number of other non-token creatures you control until it leaves the battlefield. Lumbering Battlement gets +2/+2 for each card exiled with it. Not sure what to do with it. Make a big beater. Get around your own wrath effects. Things like that. And a foil Debtor's Transport. Basilica Bellhaunt, Bankrupt in Blood, and Resolute Watchdog at uncommon, and a Breeding Pool as our rare first shock land. Skatewing Spy, Acrobat, and Cavalcade of Calamity at uncommon. Rare is a Mythic Emergency Powers. 5 generic, a white, and a blue for an instant. Each player shuffles their hand and graveyard into their library, then draws 7 cards and exile Emergency Powers. Has addendum. If you cast it during your main phase, you may put a permanent card with converter may cost 7 or less from your hand onto the battlefield. It's a wheel. The addendum is obviously pretty good. I'm not really sure why you wouldn't want to cast it during your main phase. Feels like a card you're definitely going to want to, unless you're desperately digging for a counterspell or something. But Pitiless Pontiff, Code of Constraint, and Combine Guildmage at uncommon. Unbreakable Formation at rare. 2 and a white for an instant. Creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. Addendum, if you cast it during your main phase, put a +1/+1 counter on each of those creatures, and they gain vigilance until end of turn. Another card that feels way better during your main phase, but could be used to respond to an opponent's wrath effect or something. And a foil Steeple Creeper. Depose Deploy, Collision Colossus, and Fireblade Artist at uncommon, and a rare is a Simic Ascendancy. A green and blue for an enchantment. Pay 1 a green and a blue to put a +1/+1 counter on a target creature you control. Whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters are put on a creature you control, put that many growth counters on Simic Ascendancy. At the beginning of your upkeep, if Simic Ascendancy has 20 or more growth counters on it, you win the game. Alternate win condition, probably see some play in Commander. Might be a standard deck, maybe even modern. Probably not, but we'll see if somebody comes up with something. And a foil Swirling Torrent. Bullrat Clan Crusher, Macabre Mockery, and Syndicate Guildmage at uncommon, and our rare is Mass Manipulation. 4 blue and 2x sorcery, gain control of X target creatures and or planeswalkers. It's just really expensive. We'll see if it gets played anywhere, but I'm doubting it. Clamor Shaman, Consecrate Consume, and Orzhov Enforcer at uncommon. Pestilent Spirit at rare, 2 generic and a black for a 3/2 spirit with menace and death touch, and it gives instant and sorcery spells you control death touch. I really like this card. Not sure what deck it's going to fit in yet, but I hope it finds a home because it seems fun. Alright, that's going to do it for that box. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. Pretty soon here I'm going to start looking for other boxes to open, and so if you have anything you'd like to see me open, it's going to probably have to be on the less expensive side. I won't be opening any boxes of beta in the near future. Or if you have any other ideas you'd like to see me do a video for, let me know in the comments below. Thanks.